Hey everyone, and welcome to this brand new Tiger Railfan video featuring a construction update of the OC Streetcar. Let's take a look at all that's new for the month of June here on Tiger Railfan. We're going to be starting today's episode at the Harbor and Westminster stop. This is going to be the western terminus of the line, and as you can see by this map here, we're going to be making our way east from the Harbor and Westminster station, stopping at almost every station until we reach downtown Santa Ana to complete this month's construction update. So now let's go ahead and get straight into it here at the intersection of Harbor and Westminster. You can actually see the old freight railroad just to the left. It's been taken over by some parking lots and extended properties from nearby businesses. But just to our right, we can see the right-of-way has been reclaimed by the OC Streetcar with the initial station of the Harbor and Westminster station. And at first look, it's in a pretty similar state of construction as last episode, but there are some changes that we can see, including the straightening of some of the electrical wires just above, at least on the left-hand side track. The right one still has a lot of work to be done in terms of the tension on the electrical wires. But as you can see here, the tracks do end right here at the intersection, so there is no possibility of the line going forward for now. But you can see that there is some new decorations, including ferns and trees, but there is already graffiti on the walls of the station right there, so hopefully they are fixed, and I hope this isn't a trend for the rest of the streetcar line. You can actually see there's some more vandalism happening inside at the construction site, but the fence here that is supposed to block people from entering the station just really isn't that big enough. People can hop over way too easily, so there is still definitely importance in security of construction sites. But now let's head back to the intersection of Harbor and Westminster, which is a major OC bus transfer point between bus routes 560, 60, 543, and 43. This will serve as a great ending for the OC Streetcar, as bus routes 543 and 560 are rapid bus routes, which make limited stops and enable people to travel farther. In terms of transit-oriented development though, there really is not much around this station and area, which is a shame because of how much service this area is going to have. There is a small apartment structure just in the distance that we just saw past that gas station. We'll get a closer look at that in just a second. But besides that, it's really only just a scrapyard, a few businesses, and a gas station. Although on the other side of the street, you can see one of these OC rapid bus stops, which have been recently upgraded with new shelters. So there is definitely investment in the area, and hopefully we'll be able to see some better transit-oriented development in Orange County. It's outside of the Santa Ana and downtown Orange areas. You can see that other bus stop in the distance is for the Route 560 and 60. The apartment structure, which was the transit-oriented development I was talking about, is also in the distance, along with the right-of-way for the OC Streetcar on one of very few bridges on the system. So don't get used to the great separation here, but this is definitely nice, as Westminster Boulevard, the street that travels underneath it, can definitely be quite busy at times. Let's now cross the street to the other side to see if we can get another angle at the right-of-way for the OC Streetcar. So let's go ahead and take a look. We are now traveling where we were looking at that OC bus stop, which, as you can see by the station sign here, services Route 560 and 60. If we zoom in here on the wall of the right-of-way, we can actually see an outline of what appears to be a city, which is pretty awesome, and I'm glad that OC is continuing to add decorations to the side of structures, which I feel like has been a signature thing that they've been doing on freeways and other capital projects like that have large walls that face public view. But in the distance, we can see how those electrical wires are still not tensed up enough, and this is going to be a telltale sign that they are not ready for testing just yet. But hopefully, for the month of July, when the new monthly construction update goes out, we'll be able to see if this has been tensed up or not, as I am incredibly excited to see these OC Streetcar vehicles testing and in motion. But with that, let's go ahead and catch the next bus towards the next stop along the line, which is going to be at Fairview Station. Let's go ahead and take a look. Before we actually get to the OC Streetcar station, I want to stop at a notable intersection just half a mile north of the station site, which is at Westminster and Fairview. There is actually some transit-oriented development here. That's what I wanted to showcase, as well as that OC rapid bus and the other connections as well, including the Route 47. There's also businesses around here too, So it could be a missed opportunity that the station wasn't closer to here, but I feel like it wouldn't generate enough ridership. So in general, I'm okay with how the routing is gone. It's located half a mile south that way. Here we can see one of those Route 47 buses traveling north towards Fullerton Station. This bus will connect to the OC Streetcar stop directly, which will enable you to reach this area with a quick bus ride. Next, we're going to take a look at the bridge over the Santa Ana River. This is another big site of the OC Streetcar, and it's one of the biggest landmarks. We can see in the distance, once we zoom in, we can see the old freight right-of-way as well as the new right-of-way for the OC Streetcar. Now, the old freight right-of-way is going to be the one farthest away from us with the more truss-like bridge, and the one closest to us, the concrete one, will service the OC Streetcar. Can't wait to film some shots of these new trains running across in front of this historic bridge. The Fairview Station, being about a third of a mile south of here, will also provide great access for bikers to use the great bike trails that run along the Santa Ana River here. There's also some housing nearby, but of course they're all single-family homes. They will be within walking distance, though, of the Fairview Station, except there really isn't any kind of real sidewalk on this bridge, which is on Fairview Street, crossing the Santa Ana River, which is a really big disappointment, as it would make it really nerve-wracking for some pedestrians to use it. But now let's actually cut to the station, which is located at the intersection of Civic Center and Fairview. You can see the railroad tracks just in the distance, with the railroad crossing, which is an at-grade crossing, but it does give the OC Streetcars priority, which is great to see. Now, there really isn't much happening around this station location, as just to our right there's an office for the Santa Ana Unified School District, and besides that there are a few other businesses as well that will be served by the Fairview Street Station. You can see a bus stop just ahead. This is where the Route 47 will be stopping, specifically the southbound side, which heads towards Newport Beach. To board the northbound bus, you'll need to cross the street in order to be on the correct side of the street to board. And we could verify through that sign that the Route 47 is going to stop here. Just up ahead to our right, we can now see the actual OC Streetcar station, which is a relatively tiny one-island platform station. Now, there really isn't too much of a need for a larger station, as the streetcars are only going to be running in sets of one, which are significantly smaller than the light rail vehicles you may be used to from agencies such as LA Metro. Again, about that security of the construction site, there is a chain link fence, but there was a big gaping hole in it. So there is actually vandalism on the sign on the left-hand side, which is a bummer as the station isn't even open yet. But looking inside, we can see that really not much has changed, unfortunately, as well. Construction has been pretty slow on this delayed project, but hopefully there are more internal things being worked on, including hopefully preparation for the testing of the OC Streetcar. Just across the street, though, we can actually see there is a public school located here. It's the Lydia Cruz Romero Academy. So it's great to see that they will at least see some benefits from the OC Streetcar here. Looking to our west-hand side, we can see the bridge for the original freight right-of-way and how the new right-of-way actually curves around it. So it looks like it was actually respected in terms of a historic site. I'm surprised they didn't bring it down or potentially upgrade it, retrofit it, or use it for the construction of the OC Streetcar. But anyways, on this side of the station, it's really much of the same. We can see those passenger information screens just below the roof towards the center of the platform, and the benches are still covered up, all things that we've saw from previous episodes. It's also worth noting that they finished testing the lighting for the station. That light that we just saw on the right-hand side was on at previous episodes, but it's not anymore. Here's a closer look at the electronic signs that'll showcase service alerts as well as the next departure times for the OC Streetcar. And just to our right here, we can see the Fairview Street area. Now, as we can see, there really is not much happening in terms of transit-oriented development, as there's just a scrapyard on the other side and a couple small businesses. So I imagine that this station will have pretty low ridership, especially outside of regular school hours, when the academy won't be served. There are some single-family homes in the distance, but of course that won't generate much ridership, but it will certainly be convenient for those in the area. With that, here's an uninterrupted look at this side of the station. Right there, we could actually see there was a wheelchair handicap sign, which does indicate that all of the OC Streetcar stations are wheelchair accessible, which is pretty easy to do because it's just going to be a short ramp. Looking back towards the east side, we can see how the right-of-way continues, and there's more railroad crossings in the distance. So it's great to see that it's on its own right-of-way, but we can see that it's actually boarded up at the moment with those chain link fences. So testing is definitely a while away, but once we see those go down as well, that'll mean that they'll be ready to test, or at least almost ready. Let's go ahead actually and take a look at the next station along the line. Hopefully there'll be some more development there at Rate Street Station. There will actually be an opportunity to see the new OC Streetcar vehicles in person at the Rate Street Station, which is over here. So let's go ahead and take a look. First of all, we can see an OC bus stop here, which is served by the clockwise and counterclockwise routes 150 and 151A. You can also see around the station that it's really just single family homes again, so there really is not much development or expected ridership in my opinion from this station. But of course it'll still be convenient for those who are living here. With that railroad crossing sign, we can see that the tracks will be just in the distance, which is where the new Rate Street Station will also be. There are also these new street lamps that I've noticed here popping up all over the OC Streetcar route, and I wonder if it's related to it. These are the black ones that are located just to the left of the screen, which have a unique vintage feel to them. They're also located more throughout the downtown Santa Ana area, and I'll make sure to point those out for you as well as we continue along the streetcar route from west to east. This is also the start of Santa Ana Boulevard, where the OC Streetcar will go from being on its own right-of-way to being in mixed traffic with cars, trucks, and other vehicles. We can see that transition happening on the right, and we can see our first transit signal here, which is not the typical one that you see on a railroad because it's synced to the traffic lights. So streetcars will have to be waiting for the green light here in order to continue moving towards downtown Santa Ana. But the most notable thing about this station is it's the location of the maintenance facility, which is located just there in the distance. We could see one of the brand new OC Streetcar vehicles that we're going to get a closer look at in just a second. But let's go ahead and review how the station is doing so far. It's actually pretty similar to the other ones that we've seen, besides a white panel located on that boarded up pillar, which will be for the ticket vending machines. We can also take a look at the right and see the new configuration of Santa Ana Boulevard, which has bike lanes on either side that run all the way to downtown Santa Ana, along with parking on both sides of the road. There are only 2 lanes of traffic, one for each side, so hopefully there won't be too much traffic once the streetcar arrives. But by the looks of it right now, there's not a single car in motion currently on Santa Ana Boulevard. So hopefully the streetcar has it mostly to itself, but only time will tell. Here's another angle of that station where we can see again that white panel located on the ticket machine, which looks like it was just painted. So it probably doesn't mean too much, but that might mean that the ticket machine's front face is facing that way instead of the side. Anyways, I'm curious to see if that does mean anything. It might not actually mean anything, and I could be going on for no reason, but we'll be able to confirm this in later construction updates. Looking back to our right here, we can see another angle of the OC Streetcar station against the maintenance facility, which we're going to be heading towards right now, along this new fence that was put along the tracks. And I really think it's great how they did this, so that way no trespassers can enter the right-of-way. And I feel like this should be done on Metrolink lines as well as LA Metro lines, as it's sometimes lacking. But here is now a closer look at those new OC Streetcar vehicles. We can actually see a set of 2. And there's a pickup truck located in front of one of them, so it might have been in motion recently. We can also see the maintenance facility here, which has those doors for, I presume, vehicles to enter and exit to maintain the new OC Streetcar vehicles. You can also see a big OC Streetcar car wash style building, which is located just to the left. Now let's actually get a little closer to see more of the OC Streetcar vehicles. Here is an uninterrupted look. So in general, the Rate Street Station really isn't much. It does serve as a great location for the maintenance facility, but let's go ahead and grab this next bus to continue heading along the OC Streetcar line. This is Route 64, which roughly parallels it. Next stop is going to be Bristol Street Station, which is located on the busy street of Bristol. It has a lot of greenery on the side, separating the sidewalk from the street, which is pretty nice. And of course, at the intersection of Bristol and Santa Ana Boulevard, we can see the streetcar tracks, as well as the station, which will be located just on the left-hand side. There are also great bus connections here, including the Route 64, which is located just a block south of this, as well as bus Route 57, which runs north and south along Bristol Boulevard. Now, this is a station where I presume more ridership will be at, due to the increased amount of businesses, bus connections, and there is just in general a lot more happening around this area. Looking just above the traffic signal there, we're able to see that new electronic devices are now in place to showcase whenever a streetcar is arriving or passing. So that should be lighting up whenever streetcars are passing by. Hopefully we'll be able to see that in action soon. But now let's go ahead and cross Bristol Street here to get a closer look at the OC streetcar station itself, which has a different design than the other ones we've looked at so far. It's got 2 side platforms, so let's go ahead and take a look. It's also worth noting that the bike lane continues all throughout Santa Ana Boulevard, as it does through this station, and it's actually protected by the actual streetcar stop itself, which is a design that I actually really like, as it helps separate the cars from the bike lane, making it safer for riders. But in order to access the station, it's just a short cross of the bike lane and up a short ramp. We can also see that those new rules of the streetcar signs are now up there as well. These were up in the previous construction updates, but that is one of the newest additions we've seen throughout these construction updates. We can also see that the station's name, Bristol Street, as well as the direction of travel, is listed on the top column of the roof of the station. I do wish there was more indicating which direction the streetcars went though, especially because a lot of people may not understand the acronym SARTC, which is the Santa Ana Regional Transportation Center. That's how the station lists it. It is also awful to see that there was already some vandalism on that bike lane though. Hopefully this doesn't become a commonality throughout the streetcar line. But looking at the overhead wires as well, they are all straightened out and in good shape, and they use a better design I like that is especially useful in downtown, where you actually can't really see them. It's much better than the catenary that OCTA uses at the western end of the streetcar line. Those would definitely ruin the image of Santa Ana, especially in downtown. But in terms of transit-oriented development, again, there really is not much around here. There is a small strip mall here though, so those businesses will have better access to public transportation, which is pretty nice. Another new addition is this red phone on that pillar that we just passed by. That has been added a few months ago, and it is also one of the newest updates we've seen. We haven't seen too much new since then, however. But we can actually see into the cardboard box there the edge of the ticket vending machine that's going to be used to sell tickets for the OC streetcar. Each platform and station is going to have at least one of these, so that's pretty awesome to see. There's also a second entrance and exit on the western end of the station, so it makes it convenient for riders coming from both directions. This side goes towards Garden Grove, as the arrow points there. Once we get to the downtown Santa Ana portion of the video, it'll be much more important to know which direction you're heading, as there is a split in the right-of-way where eastbound traffic heads 2 blocks north and westbound traffic remains on the same street, Santa Ana Boulevard. So overall, this is a pretty solid station, I would say, and there is a medical facility over here, but the main usefulness of the station would be for its transfer options to the routes 57 and 64. But with that, let's go ahead towards the next station along the line, which is going to be at Flower Street. Let's go ahead and take a look. And now welcome to the intersection of Santa Ana Boulevard and Flower Street, which is another one of those larger intersections, great for those bus transfers. We can already see one of the OCTA streetcar platforms just over to the left, and another one to the right that we'll look at shortly. So they are actually split on either side of the intersection based off the direction they're heading. So they are both on the near side of the intersection. We can also see that the bike lane continues throughout this area, and there's actually a plant median, it looks like, that's going to be blocking the bike lane from the car traffic on the road, which is another great improvement I like to see, protecting those bike lane riders. So now let's go ahead and cross the street, and once again we can see the nice effect of those overhead wires that really don't take up much space and you can't really see them. It truly blends in really well. But now let's go ahead and get a look at the first part of this station, which is going to be for westbound traffic towards Garden Grove. Initially looking, it looks like it has a very similar design to the previous stations along the line. It's just this time it's separated from the other platform, which serves eastbound traffic towards Santa Ana. As you can see here, just on that roof pillar, it does state the Flower Street station name, as well as the direction of travel towards Garden Grove. It's also worth noting that the benches here are still wrapped up, and honestly they have been for quite a long time. We can also see new utilities put into the roof, including security cameras, speakers, lights, and information screens that we saw at the previous stations. Those will also be here as well. Those have also been new additions in terms of the past 6 months of construction updates, and just in the distance we can see the other station platform, which is going to be serving eastbound traffic towards Santa Ana. Walking towards this way, we can see there's another entrance and exit for this streetcar platform. I especially like it when the stations have 2 exits and entrances. It really makes it convenient and makes it so you don't need to add extra walking in the event that you're coming from the side of the station that doesn't have an entrance. Again, looking eastbound here, we can see the new light pole structures I was talking about earlier in the video. These look like they've been popping up all along the OC streetcar line, and they honestly look really good. They add a lot to the area, especially in downtown Santa Ana. Looks like there's also a Border Patrol vehicle there, and that's because downtown Santa Ana is a huge government center for the Orange County as well as the city of Santa Ana. All sorts of facilities are here, including courthouses and tons of government office buildings. So that is primarily the ridership for this part of the OC streetcar line, except for, of course, the Santa Ana station, which is going to have, probably in my opinion, the highest ridership due to its connections to Metrolink and Amtrak. For a sense of location, we're currently walking eastbound along Santa Ana Boulevard towards Santa Ana. We're currently heading towards the next stop along the line, which you may be able to see already, and that is the Ross Street Station, which is going to be the next one heading east. And as a reminder, we're currently following this map, starting from westbound stations, heading all the way east towards Santa Ana. So let's continue today's construction update as we begin to enter downtown Santa Ana. Now at the intersection of Santa Ana Boulevard and Civic Center Plaza, we can see the Ross Street Station for the eastbound traffic is located just ahead. It's behind those trees in the Sacker Park, which is a pretty nice area as the street splits. The westbound platform for the OC streetcar will be located a block further down, and that's what we're going to be looking at here in just a second. There is some construction though happening at the intersection right in front of the OC streetcar tracks. I am unsure though if it's related to the construction of the project, especially as the tracks are already in place and they're not touching any of the electrical wires above. They could be messing with the traffic lights to help configure them for testing, but it's only guesses for now. Maybe we'll see in the future. But of course that bike lane continues along, and it's extra wide along this part, which is really nice for bikes to pass each other. But now let's get a zoomed in look at the eastbound Ross Street Station platform, which is going to be the first station if you're coming from the western side like we are. That is going to be separated depending on the direction of travel. So if you're heading westbound, this station is not right for you. This is the one heading towards downtown Santa Ana, and it's going eastbound. You can see the track and the station integrate with the park, which adds for a really nice waiting experience. For those who are heading westbound, you're going to want to board the streetcar further down towards the left, and an extra block further where the westbound platform will be. Let's go ahead and speed up the walking a little bit to get to that area. And now, welcome to the Ross Street Station westbound platform heading towards Garden Grove. And as you have guessed already, the intersection here is going to be Santa Ana Boulevard and Ross Street. So the station is named after the street here, as it is for several of them that we've already went to already. It also looks like Ross Street has a pretty cool bike lane here as well, as it intersects this bike lane, so there are plenty of options for bike travelers in the area. But this station also includes one of my favorite bike lane types that they use here, and that's how they elevate it to the sidewalk level. It removes the need for a ramp, and it lets the bikers know that they need to yield to pedestrians who may be crossing into the station's platform. This makes it safe for everyone. As you can see, the station states that its platform is for Garden Grove, and it of course says the Ross Street station right there. It's similar to all the other stations, but there are actually leaning devices here on those railings. If you look at this part of the video carefully, you'll see 3 of them throughout the station. And again, that pillar-looking thing that is currently boarded up by some wood is currently the ticket machines for the station, which are not unveiled just yet. We'll be waiting for that in a future construction update, but make sure to stay tuned and see more construction updates just like this to see the updates on that. And here is a little overview of that platform before we head to the next station. Downtown Santa Ana is also home to plenty of beautiful public art, such as the ones located right here on the edge of this parking lot. And you can see a biker riding in the bike lane, which is pretty awesome, and you can really get some high speeds in there while remaining safe, which is pretty awesome. But as we're heading to the next stop, if you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more just like this. I upload construction updates monthly for several projects, including the OC Streetcar and the D-Line subway extension, among others. So make sure to stay tuned for videos just like that. And as we continue along Santa Ana Boulevard heading east, we're able to see that the bike lane continues to be divided from the street here, which is another amazing feature. And it's also amazing to see how wide they are as well. There's plenty of room for bicyclists to pass each other, and it's honestly really great to see more space given to bicycle infrastructure compared to additional car lanes. But just on the left, appearing in the distance, is the old Orange County Courthouse. And just ahead, we're going to reach the next stop along the line, which is going to be... This one is located in downtown Santa Ana, and again, it is going to be the westbound platform only. For the eastbound platform, you're going to want to head 2 blocks south to 5th Street to board your train heading towards downtown Santa Ana. But at this point, it may be easier to walk or ride the bus. But I am curious to see how the bus network is going to be impacted by the OC Streetcar. For example, the Octo Route 862 only runs a loop in downtown Santa Ana, where the streetcar also roughly runs. But let's get back to the stations itself, which is what we're looking at in today's video. Here we can see the westbound platform. It is again just a side platform, unfortunately, and there is a missed opportunity here for an entrance for sure. So if you do need to access the station, you need to walk past the tree and enter where the bike lane ramps up. Again, we can see those light poles over there that have popped up all along the OC Streetcar line, and of course it's in similar state as the rest of the stations where the ticket machine area is boarded up, and the benches are also covered up in that plaster. But we're now going to head back a little bit to catch a bus towards the Santa Ana station, which is where we're going to be catching a look at the next stop, which is the Santa Ana Regional Transportation Center. So now welcome to the intersection of Santa Ana and Santiago, where we can already see one of those OCTA buses, the Route 862 that we were talking about earlier. That's the shuttle that runs around downtown Santa Ana. But the one thing I wanted to showcase here was the huge amount of transit-oriented development. This station is going to be probably one of the highest ridership because of the oriented development here and the connections to Amtrak and Metrolink. Now, I'm not saying that the transit-oriented development was built for the OC Streetcar. It was most likely made for the Metrolink and Amtrak trains that pass through the area, heading north to Los Angeles and south to Oceanside and San Diego. But this adds another great connection to bring travelers into downtown Santa Ana and further to Garden Grove. In the distance, we can see the Santa Ana Metrolink and Amtrak station. It's quite the impressive structure actually, and it spans quite the property. There is an indoor waiting rooms and plenty of passenger amenities, including baggage service for Amtrak. We'll go ahead and get a closer look at the station in just a moment. But we can also see another connecting bus over here, the Route 83, which runs express north and south. It goes from the Fullerton Park and Ride all the way down to Laguna Niguel. So it's another great transfer option if you're in the area. That's another great thing about this station, the huge amount of bus connections. More notable bus routes include the routes 560, 60, and 59. They all run and stop at this station. Now you may be wondering where the actual OC streetcar stop is. Well, it's located just to our right, just outside of the parking lot for the Santa Ana Metrolink station. We can see already that the signals are in place, but they're not on, as well as the railroad crossings, which are, as we said earlier, in place but not on. And here comes that Route 83 passing by, heading down towards Laguna Niguel. With that, let's go ahead and get a closer look at the Santa Ana OC streetcar station, serving Metrolink and Amtrak. As we cross the street here, we can actually cross the OC streetcar tracks right here. Now, to the right-hand side, there's only some stones as decoration, and it's worth noting that the streetcars pass right through here to exit the on-street portion of the route and enter its own right-of-way for a brief amount of time in order for it to lay over and wait to turn around back towards Garden Grove. Looking here at the interlocking, it's still in the same state as it was previously. There really hasn't been much progress here from last time, but I'm going to walk along the street here to give you guys a bit of a better look. Looks like some new plant life is being built on the right-hand side. We can see some new trees are in place and they're growing. Hopefully they do something with the current dirt areas around the track area, as there is a lot of opportunity to add some greenery there and really make the station pop. There will be an entrance on either side of the station, which I also really like. There will be an entrance right in front of us, which is going to be for the dedicated park and ride for the station. I honestly don't think many people are going to park and ride here for the OC streetcar, and you'll see in just a second that there is a separate parking lot just for the OC streetcar, which I actually don't think is a good idea. But here it is, the Santa Ana Regional Transportation Center station, abbreviated here as SARTC, which again, I don't really think is ideal, but it works for now. The tracks do physically end here and they don't go any further. There is unfortunately no plans for expansion beyond this station, but hopefully we'll be able to see some expansion from the western end, maybe even towards Disneyland, as some people have mentioned. Only time will tell, and hopefully I'll be making a video updating you on that. But let's actually take a look at the station itself here. It's pretty much the exact same as the previous ones we've looked at so far. It has those new red emergency telephones. The benches are still blocked up with that plastic wrap, and the ticket machine is still boarded up with that wood. And it's also worth noting that the light in the distance is currently on, the one at the very end of the platform on the right hand side. But again, the station looks pretty close to being finished, as do the rest of them as well. They just need some finishing touch-ups, and the testing for the streetcar needs to begin. So honestly, I see no reason why this opens later than maybe summer of 2026, but I'm optimistic it maybe opens towards the end of 2025. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think this project will open in 2025? Or do you think it'll be delayed until further notice? Let me know in the comments down below. But anyways, here is that dedicated parking lot I was talking about, and it's currently blocked up at the moment, and I hope it doesn't take too much capacity from Metrolink and Amtrak, since there is likely a much higher demand for passengers parking and riding for longer distance trains such as Metrolink and Amtrak. If you've been wondering where those connecting buses depart from, well, some of them depart from that intersection Santa Ana and Santiago, but the ones that start and end here are boarding and ending here at this temporary layover facility. For now, buses go in and back out of this area. Unfortunately, there's no buses here to show you, but you can see those temporary OC bus signs right there. There's also a parking structure just to our right and a connecting bridge to the massive station structure. It almost reminds me of a mini Los Angeles Union Station. There are also some more buses though that stop further to the right, such as the 862. They're located all the way at the end of the platform. But now that we made it to the end of the video, as a thank you, here is a little tour throughout the Santa Ana station, and at the end there will be a mini compilation featuring some Metrolink trains departing at the station. Overall, I think this station is going to be a great transfer area for the OC streetcar, and in general, I think the line is going to be great for everyone in Santa Ana. Hopefully it has some ridership, but we'll have to see, and I can't wait to show you on opening day. Out here, you can see an arrival board for the Metrolink and Amtrak departures, and that is essentially the walk for the transfer that we just did. It only will take about 1 or 2 minutes to walk between the OC Streetcar and where we're at now at track 1. In order to transfer tracks, you'll need to go up a bridge, and that'll add an extra few minutes. But back to the topic at hand, I really think the OC Streetcar is going to do amazing things for the community, and hopefully it'll have quite a bit of ridership. But with that, I can't wait to see you in the next construction update. Here is a Metrolink train arriving, and have an amazing rest of your day or night. Thank you for watching.